Good afternoon, Moss here. I've been asked this question a few times today, and so I thought I would just make a video about how Rabble Rowza works, how to play him and how to use him. So I know that these aren't the proper models, right? So over here, I have some Swamp Collar Shamans, which are going to represent my Rabble Rousers in different positions across the battlefield. And then here I have a Sludge Raker in place of a Big Pig. Okay, so Rabble Rowza, the way that the rule reads is, so when you pick a friendly monster to move in the movement phase, you can say that it is goaded until the end of that phase. While a friendly monster is goaded, so it can only be goaded in the movement phase, it can run and still charge later in the turn. However, a goaded unit must finish any kind of move except pile in closer to a unit with this ability than it was at the start of the move. In addition, each time a goaded unit finishes a move, each friendly unit with this ability within blah 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 blah. So if you get too close to the goading unit, you get injured. Okay, so there's a question immediately: is that does this count for charges? Because if it says like, when you pick a friendly monster to move in the movement phase, you can say that it is goaded. So I think yes. My interpretation of this rule is yes. That when it finishes any kind of move, that includes a charge. So let's just say that that's the case. If that's not the case, right? If there's like an FAQ for this, another question is about if you can do it to a unit of monsters, so not just a single monster, but two monsters that are in a unit. My interpretation is also yes. So, but we're gonna take the most conservative scenario where it's only one monster that can do this, and it includes a charge as well. Okay. So this is the deployment zone. So here I've taken this Swamp Collar Shaman, this Rabble Rowza, and this Big Pig, and this is how I have deployed them on the battlefield. Cool. So then, when I go to make my move, I'm going to start by moving my Rabble Rowza forward with a run. So this Swamp Collar Shaman represents a 6-inch move forward, which is the minimum run that you can have as a Rabble Rowza. And this Swamp Collar Shaman that has progressed a little bit further up the table represents a run of 6. So this is the furthest that the Rabble Rowza can move up the table. So this Rabble Rowza is, oops, I'm a little bit off, is this far away, so 42 units. So this is roughly 42 inches away from my Big Pig. That means, so you can see, right, that all that I have to do in this case is end my move somewhere inside of this circle. I have to end my move somewhere inside of this circle. So if I pick up my Big Pig and I run, so I don't know, I could even roll a die for it. So he's going to go 9 plus 3 is 12. So when I'm measuring, all I have to do is I have to end my move, my 12-inch run somewhere that is inside of this circle. Somewhere that's inside of the circle, that's it. And then the size of the circle changes, right? The size of the circle changes to reflect the distance between these two models now, right? So now we're at 41.4. See, I've moved 0.6 inches closer. So, if I wanted to do that, I could do exactly that, right? I could click on my little guy here and I could say 41.4. So now we have repositioned ourselves. So now when I charge, all I have to do is end my charge inside of this circle. So it's not a very difficult thing to do, even with a minimum run roll on the side of the battlefield. It's really not. You can, especially if you're talking about things like mighty destroyers, right? So it's like, okay, so I get to go 9 inches in the hero phase. Okay, right? So I can move up my 9 inches. I can move up the table. So whatever, like 9 inches. I'm gonna move to here. So then the size of the circle changes. It gets a little bit smaller, right? Right, and then it's like, okay, so now I'm gonna run or whatever. So I'm gonna run and I'm gonna end myself, another in the movement phase I'm gonna run, and so now I can go 9 plus whatever. So let's say 10 inches. So it's like I can move and I can end just inside of the circle, and then the size of the circle changes. And then when I finish my charge move, like I can hit something that's over here, but like if I started back here, I can go 9. Right, and then I can go 18 so I can do 18 in the movement phase, and then I could auto run another 6 for 24 inches. Like I can get incredible distances, and all of this is going to be like ending closer. So and this is with a straight deployment zone. Some of these battle plans have deployment zones that are quite So we're on number 5 here, but some of them have deployment zones like this one, for example, right? Where I could stick Rabble Rowza over here in the blue area, and I could stick, or no, he would be down here, I guess, right? But then I could put my big pig over here and send him this way, in this direction, you know? So like even with a straight up deployment zone that's pretty straightforward, you know? Like with this deployment zone, you could stick your Rabble Rowza over here in this corner and then move him this way towards this objective. And then your pig, if it's positioned over here, he can charge like straight across this way or straight down this way. And again, this is with the most conservative interpretations of these rules, right? So again, here it is. So the reason that we stick the guy all the way over on this side is because as we get closer and closer to you can see that the area that we can actually end on the far side of the table, like over here, is actually getting shorter, right? So, you know, this is like a medium distance, right? I'd have to end somewhere inside the circle. But if I'm really far away and I did a 6-inch run, you could see that like I can actually end this all the way back over here. So every time that I'm moving forward, I'm gonna, you know, encroach on this. Let's see. I'm gonna encroach on my. Where is it? I'm gonna encroach every time that I move forward and end within the circle. The circle sort of gets redrawn because it says whenever you end any kind of move. So as I get closer and closer, the circle is going to have to be redrawn every time I put my model back down on the table. But you can see here, like if I go from here. Right, if I go 9 inches forward or in the hero phase, right, and all I do is go like 0.1 inches in, the circle is going to be barely noticeably smaller, and then like I should be able to get myself all the way over here, turn 1, like with an alpha strike. It's really not, it takes a little bit of planning. I think it's like a deployment thing where you're really going to have to think about where you're deploying. All you need is turn 1. And so if you're a 2-drop iron list drop, right, you're probably going to get to go first. So the Rabble Rowza can just run his heart out right up the middle, and then who cares after that? Like he can die. You did a turn 1 run in charge, and you can do it for all your pigs, right? Or all your big pigs. So, and then the closer you are, right? Like here's a shaman that's quite close. So like obviously that's not going to work. But if my big pig was as far as possible, right? So this distance measured here is 55.6. So if I just change the value on this to 55.6, all that I really have to do is end somewhere inside this circle. And I can end anywhere inside the circle on my initial move, right? So that's the idea. That's how you make it work, you know? Like I'm at this point, like obviously all this Iron Jaw stuff is still pretty new, but I'm pretty confident that Rabble Rowza is going to be a pretty good tool to help with the big pigs. It's the only tool that I'm aware of, and maybe I'm overlooking something, but I really don't think I am. But it's the only tool that I can see in the Orc War Clans book. Like it's the only model that you can put down on the table with like an Iron Jaws or a Big Wah that opens up some kind of run and charge for your army. It's the only thing I can see that lets you run and charge. So you know you could use big pigs in a Gloomspike Gitz army. You can use Rabble Rowza in an Orc War Clans army. But being able to run and charge with the big pigs is gigantic. Not only are you gaining all that movement speed, but you get to roll twice on that momentum table. And I'm not sure if if you can't run and charge with the big pig super early on, like turn 1. Right, if you can't run and charge with the big pig when you need to run and charge with the big pig, I think the big pig is significantly worse. I think being able to get in on turn 1 with 2 rolls of your momentum die, and then if you're playing the Hack-a-Crew or the Tusk boss, the heroic action lets you have a 3rd attempt. You know, like I don't think that is exactly what. I think that it's significantly weaker, right? So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if Rabble Rowza, if maybe I'm totally overlooking something, but I think that I'm being very conservative in my interpretation of the rules here. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Join the Discord or else like, subscribe, and wah.